the power to kill by fear itself.
Like literally scared to death?
We might be looking at a second ice age.
The Ghostbusters are back on the big screen. The latest film in the franchise, Frozen Empire, is out now. And joining us to talk more about it is film critic Richard Crouse. Richard, welcome. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me, Renee.
Now, I know you're the film expert, but in my opinion, the original Ghostbusters is very iconic. Would you say Ghostbusters Frozen Empire lives up to the original?
Well, it's a much different film, and that's kind of my issue with it. It has a lot of the elements that were in the first film, the classic film. Dan Aykroyd is back, Bill Murray's back, Ernie Hudson is back, Slimer is back. Everyone loves Slimer. They're back at the iconic New York City firehouse where all the action began in the last one. Ecto-1, the cool car, is back. But there's also a lot of new characters. And so you have, in this big story of busting this ghost that might be an ice demon. I don't want to give anything much away, but it could cause another ice age. You've got a lot going on. There's a lot of characters, and not everyone is utilized particularly well. So there's that. It's not as funny as I wanted it to be. And so while Ghostbusting doesn't make me feel as good, maybe, as it once did, it makes me feel goodish, to kind of paraphrase the lyrics of the song. So Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, I give it 2.5 out of 5 stars, and it's in theaters right now.
Okay. Next up, we have Immaculate. Tell us what this is all about.
This is Sydney Sweeney playing a novitiate nun going to a remote convent in Italy. She gets there. She is much younger than most of the other nuns who she's there with, studying with. And then ultimately, she ends up pregnant. In the upper members of the church think that it must be an immaculate conception. They start treating her like she is a walking, talking miracle until sinister things start to happen. So Immaculate has the feel of a religious horror film, but it really is an exploitation film dressed up in a nun's habit, I would say. The first half hour of it has some pretty good jump scares, those loud sounds that make you jump out of your seat a little bit. But it's in the last half hour where this movie just goes bonkers. It becomes something completely different than the first hour. And that will either delight or repulse fans. I'm not sure which. Sydney Sweeney fans are going to jump in joy at the last half hour of this movie. I think horror fans will get a charge out of it. So I give it 3.5 out of 5 stars, and it's in theaters right now.
Okay. Next, we have Roadhouse. This one, I understand something about a UFC fighter becoming a bouncer.
Yep, and that's the new storyline. So this, of course, is based on the Patrick Swayze cult classic film Roadhouse. In this one, Jake Gyllenhaal plays a disgraced UFC fighter, becomes a bouncer in a club that's been overrun by guys who just want to start fights. Now, there's more to that story. The family in town, they're rich. They want this roadhouse for themselves so they can tear it down and build a resort. And Jake Gyllenhaal's character kind of gets caught in the middle of that. This is a movie that doesn't really do that much to change or update the story of the original Roadhouse. All it does, and this is all I think fans are expecting it to do, is have some pretty good fight scenes. And when you go see a movie called Roadhouse about a bouncer, that's all you're expecting to get. And so it works on that level. It's on Prime Video right now, and I give it 3 out of 5 stars.
All right, we will have to leave it there. Thank you, as always, for joining us. Richard Crouse, film critic. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.